What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And we're here with another tier list. It's been a while, but we love the tier lists, so we got to keep them going. And we're here with the steroid assumption tier list, or the steroid suspicion tier list, you could call it. I am ranking 20 fighters in part 1 of this tier list out of 5 tiers, based on how suspicious I am of them taking steroids. Obviously, right at the top, we've got the CEO of EPOs. Not necessarily meaning they do take EPO, but just, they're very, very assumed to be drug cheats. And then we go extremely suspicious, very suspicious, slightly suspicious, and all the way down to reverse roids at the bottom. That's for the people that, if you told me they were taking steroids, I would say get that man a refund. So yeah, we're going to get into it now, and we're going to start off in the top tier. And who better to start in the CEO of EPO tier than Kamaru Usman himself? Mr. Wobblestone, Cobblestone knees. Unfortunately, the miles of HGH, the litres of that stuff that he's been injecting has not helped his knees, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. This guy's probably injecting HGH. He's probably doing EPO. What's his name? Derek, or whatever his name is, from More Plates, More Dates, did a video on it. Other people have done videos on it, assuming what he did take. The acne and stuff, very big telltale sign. And also, his physique is just kind of sus. When you get that, ripped and, the muscle is, rounded and, not... It looks too, smooth, and there's, nothing over the... It almost looks like just muscle and then, a little bit of skin, or just to cover it. It just looks suspect. They look like balloon muscles. They look too inflated almost. So, yeah, bit sus. I think Kamaru Usman, maybe not at this point in his career, but even on short notice, was able to push a pace against Tumzat and make him look bad in the later rounds after getting smoked in the first, on short notice, upper weight class. We saw clearly how much different the altitude made a difference when he fought Leon in Salt Lake compared to London. But yeah, his fights against Woodley, stuff like that, he fights very well in as the fight goes on. Not saying 100% he's on roids, but I would be pretty suspicious. And also, that's the name he's been given, so it would be disrespectful to not call him by that, CEO of EPO, Kamaru Usman. But let's move on. Next fighter that we have here is Edson Barboza. Now, I am extremely suspicious of Edson Barboza, and I like him as a fighter, so this is not me taking a dig at him. It's not like with Adesanya or Usman, how people go, or Jones, or the steroids, bad fighter, fake legacy, all that. Now, Barboza, it's just kind of weird, because he's not a top 5 fighter, but the physique is just not, I don't think, natural, because this man looks better at 37 years of age, down a weight class, than he did at lightweight. He's should have exited the prime of his career, and I think he did in terms of his skill, but he's still as fast as ever, still powerful. He was still able to get 10-8'd in the first by Sadiq Yusuff and then come back and push a pace. And Barboza's normally a guy that doesn't push a pace. But yeah, his physique is nuts. If you see photos of him on Instagram, he looks like a bodybuilder. There's just no shot this guy ain't injecting something in Brazil and USADA's just not going down that far into the favelas. That's my assumption, but I might be wrong. I don't know. I just think he looks pretty sus to me. But let's move on to another fighter. Arman Nurmagomedov, I would say very suspicious. Now, you might ask why. And my answer is because he's Dagestani. That's my answer. Yeah, he's one of the lads. He's injecting some fucking shit in the caves in Dagestan. They're injecting stuff like some goat blood or some shit. I don't know what they're doing. They're injecting some weird shit. Probably been doing it since birth. Fucking Islam popped a while ago. He'll be on the list as well. Yeah, Usman Nurmagomedov popped in Bellator. It just wouldn't surprise me at all. This guy, his recovery is pretty insane, and he's able to push a fucking heavy grappling pace for 3 rounds. I know that's something they do since birth, but I just think it would not surprise me at all if a lot of these Dagestanis are on some roids, to be honest. That's just my opinion. Don't come at me in the comments and be like, oh, you're just hating, you hate Dagestanis. Yeah, I do, but also, it's reasonable to assume some of them are on roids because multiple of them have popped. But yeah, let's move on. Next up, we have Mateusz Gamrot. I'm going to say slightly suspicious. He's Eastern European kind of guy, very heavy wrestler. That just kind of leads me to believe they would be taking something or have been in the past. His physique's not crazy, but some of the wrestling guys don't have crazy... some of the Dagestanis, Umar, doesn't have a crazy physique. Neither does Gamrot, but I don't know. I'm not saying he's on roids, but it just wouldn't surprise me if he was. Yeah, he's able to push a fucking heavy pace, get knocked down, and just fail takedowns over and over again. That shit is tiring. some people just can't do it, and I think if you can, you've either got extremely genetically gifted gas tank, or you might be taking something. But let's move on. Now we go to our first person in the reverse roids category, and I'm saying Anthony Smith. Because if Mr. Pigheart Anthony Smith himself, on paper, I'm not injecting steroids, but if I was, I would be the best fighter in the world. If Mr. On paper himself is injecting steroids, the man needs a refund. He looks like the most average 45-year-old dad build you'll ever see. He's got no power, he's got no athleticism, he's got no speed, no quick twitch ability. So yeah, maybe at his age, at his current state right now, just jump on some roids, Anthony Smith. No one to judge you. It'll be fine. You know, you got beat up by John Jones, who was on roids. So on paper, if you were on roids, you would have beaten him. So yeah, that's how it goes. And Anthony, start injecting, my guy. But let's move on. Got Merab Dvalishvili. I'm going to put him in the top tier CLVPO. The pace this guy pushes is nuts. I do think part of it is genetics, but this guy, little ball of fucking muscle, 5'5", spams takedowns, fucking 90 of them in a fight against Pt.1. Fails all of them. That shit is tiring. You're not meant to just be able to keep shooting takedowns. Wrestling is like an anaerobic high intensity activity where it's like one big explosion and then it's just whoever comes out of that best. This guy it's continuous efforts. His fucking anaerobic system must be nuts. Is like the ATTPC system is responsible for like those maximal like bursts. And I know his takedowns aren't like 100% intensity all the time, but like this guy is shooting so many takedowns. I don't know how he's not gassing out. It's nuts. He pushed against Cejudo, lost the first round, and then just keeps pushing, picks him up and dumps him on his head. Like against Pt.1, quite literally traumatized the man. He must be on something. He's I don't know, it just looks weird. He looks like he's on a bit of roids. But let's move on. Next up, we've got Michael Chandler. Surprise, surprise! There's a new king of the steroid division. Michael Chandler, he's on roids. Look, this guy's physique is nuts. He's got the little roid gut. He's got just fucking little ball of muscle. I know he's like 5'8", so you're naturally going to be able to build more muscle. But like, you can't look at this guy's like stomach and his abs and shit and be like, nah, that's natural. Like, he doesn't have abs. He's just got this big block of like just I don't know what it is. It's just like, it's fat, muscle, I don't fucking know. It's just this big block. He's got the weirdest looking torso I've ever seen. And yeah, this guy looks like he's on roids. He might be one of the most athletic dudes on the roster. Yeah, he's on steroids. Or he's just like literally top 1 percentile athleticism, but I would take the former option. Let's move on. Aljamain Sterling is next up. He's going in the very suspicious tier. I'm not extremely suspicious, but his physique is pretty nuts. Again, maybe just really good genetics, but moving up to 45, pushing heavy paces, like he's able to push a grappling pace very well. And also, I just want to point out the difference in the Pt.1 fights. I know people can make improvements, but like, he was getting his fucking ass whooped in the first fight. And then second fight, he's just able, I guess he takes it back, but like, it seemed like his cardio was way better. He was able to fight through adversity way better. Like, I don't know, maybe someone just switched, but again, going up upper weight class, he looked fucking jacked. Like, I reckon he's probably taken something. Him and Merab, they're probably just injecting roids up each other's ass. And yeah, I would not be surprised if Aljo was on some roids. But let's move on to another fighter. Next fighter that we have here is Rafael Fiziev. Now, a lot of the suspicion now comes from the fact that he's returning from injury, and he was injured, and he probably didn't get tested by USADA much. Because even if he didn't exit the pool, I doubt they're I doubt they're being like, all right, Fiziev, mate, you got to get another test in. It's like, bro, I'm not fucking fighting for like a year. So I reckon he probably took some roids in terms of his recovery. But also, this guy's physique is pretty nuts. His fast twitch ability is crazy. Yeah, he just kind of looks a little bit roided up. Again, he's got that weird physique where it's like the muscles and the chest and shit and the arms are all rounded out. Like, they don't look like normal muscle. They look like inflated almost, which is weird. I'm being the fucking physique inspector right now. I'm discussing how male physiques are impressive. It's a bit suspect. This might just be another variation of just the physique tier list. Like, we could just make it that, but I'm doing the steroid tier list. I promise you, I'm not homosexual. And unlike Lucas Tracy, I'm not just going to be glazing every single fighter on here, but Steve's physique is pretty nuts, so definitely would not surprise me if he is on steroids. But let's move on to another fight. Next up, we've got Ian Machado Garry, and of course, reverse roids for him. This guy looks like he's like becoming younger by the day. Like, and I don't mean that in a good way. I don't mean that when you're like a 40-year-old fucking dad and you've got like your hairline's receding, and then you come back after 2 weeks and they'd be like, you look younger. Or where like a woman will say, I'm 45, and they'll be like, damn, I thought you were 30. No, Ian Garry, it's like, you're 27, you look 12. And that's not a good thing. He looks like he's turning into a fucking high school movie character that gets bullied and thrown into a locker. Like, that's Ian Garry's physique, and his demeanor is just resorting into that. It's morphing into that. We all know he's getting cucked, but in terms of his physique, it's atrocious. The vegan diet is not helping, and if this guy ever took roids, or ever was taking roids, goddamn, he needs a refund because he's been scammed. I think he's actually injecting estrogen. But let's move on to another fighter. Next up, we've got Jonathan Jones, of course, CLVPO tier for Johnny Bones. He's just on all the sauce. He's taken all the roids. Obviously, recovering from his injury, he's probably taken a bunch. We know what happened with the USADA agent, allegedly, or the drug testing agent. We know what's happened in the past. He's on roids. I don't need to discuss it any further, but let's move on. Arman Tsarukyan, I think this guy's on roids. This guy's physique is nuts. Like, bro, did you see the photos of like him at the weigh-ins and him at the when they get the fighter photos taken and shit? Like, this guy his physique is nuts. Again, he's 5'6", so if he, like, the muscle does build easier, but again, this guy looks fucking inflated. Like, he looks like a balloon. His shoulder came out of the socket. That's me. My shoulder came out of the socket. But Arman Tsarukyan, tell me this guy doesn't look like he's on roids. His abs look weird as shit as well. He's coming from that wrestling background. All those fucking wrestlers and shit take roids, definitely. Yeah, he's just got a weirdly fucking... He's just got a weird physique to be natural. Like, it would surprise me if he was natural. But let's move on. Next up, we have Movsar Evloev. Again, similar to Umar, similar to Arman, I guess. His physique is fucking nuts. If you've seen him at some of the weigh-ins, he looks like shredded and also like bone dry at the same time. He doesn't look deflated though. Like, when this guy weighs in, he doesn't look deflated. You know when you see guys and their muscles look all shrunken and then they blow back out after weigh-ins. At weigh-ins, like when he's dehydrated, he still looks ripped as fuck and like muscular. And also he's a wrestler. He's from that region, Dagestani. I know there's some retard in the comments going to be like, oh, he's English or Urgish or some shit. Oh, fuck off. I don't care. They're all the same. They all come from the same fucking brother and sister. But yeah, Movsar looks like he's on roids in my opinion. Fights like it too. He pushes a nuts pace. He's able to just spam takedowns a bunch like against Allen. Just repeat efforts. That tells me something. You're probably on steroids. But yeah, Movsar just wouldn't surprise me at all. Let's move on. Leonidas, bro. Why do you think I'm on steroids, bro? I'm natural, bro. Headshot dead, bro. Leon, I'm going to put him in slightly suspicious. You know, Mario Rios has said it already. He does have the best physique known to mankind, of course. No, but I don't know. He's a champion of the world. Probably any fucking champions on roids, let's be honest. No, but his physique, like, it's naturally attainable for sure. He does have good genetics, but just wouldn't surprise me if he's on roids. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that suspicious, but again, if he told me Leon popped, I'll be like, not surprising. Let's move on. Next up in the reverse roids category, we've got Kelvin Gastelum, the fridge build, the tubby man himself. Quite literally the only man with, like, that suffers from obesity below heavyweight. It's quite an impressive feat. But yeah, Gastelum, if this man ever took roids in his life, they didn't do anything, I'll tell you that much. He might need to start injecting something, HGH. Let's get some of that fat off and some of that muscle larger, kg. You know, multiple kind of kgs. We got Kelvin Gastelum and we got kilograms, and he weighs a whole lot of them. But let's move on to another fighter. Back to the top tier, and we're going in with the Gyno Bender, the Dog Bender, the Gender Bender. This guy's got so many nicknames, and he's also probably taken so many steroids. Israel Adesanya has a boob. Look, I'm just going to say it straight up. The man grew a D cup in the middle of his fight camp. I know he kind of comes out with it every fight. Sometimes it's more pronounced than others, but you can't tell me him rocking up with literally a tit sagging halfway down his fucking chest. Like, it was almost reaching his fucking abs, that shit. It was like morphed in there. It was gyno beyond belief. You can't tell me that that also coincides with his best performance, where he fought aggressively and tuned up a guy and didn't just wait for them to rush in. Like, when he beat Costa, that was the first and and only time he's beat someone because of them being retarded. Like when Whitaker ran in like a spastic, Pereira ran in like a spastic. Costa, he was just chewing him up the whole time. But normally, if people sit on the outside, he doesn't like beat you up. But Costa, he fucked him up, and you can't tell me that does not coincide with him growing a tit. It also just happens to grow a little bit bigger during, like, you know, the Pereira fights, a little bit smaller during the Strickland, Cannonier, Vettori fights. I'm not saying that doesn't disappear, but it's like the cycles of the moon or some shit, the cycles of the tit for Adesanya. Just very suspicious stuff. And if he comes back against Drickers with a fucking E-cup, then we know he's on roids. But let's move on. Conor McGregor. Don't be putting my name as steroids. I'm major against that. You know, don't be talking to me about steroids. I've never injected anything in my life. All these other fuckers, they're probably taking steroids, but I'm the best in the game, and I'm the best in the game naturally. I never injected anything. I'm a clean person. I'm a man of God. Yeah, Conor, bro, you're on roids. He's taken roids definitely during his comeback. I'm pretty sure he literally said it. The man exited the USADA pool, so that would tell me he is on roids. And then probably, you know, with this new drug testing program, they're saying that Conor McGregor's their most tested athlete. They're probably just saying, yo, Conor, fucking, look, can we take a swab of your spit or some shit? And then, here you go, all right, you're clean, good job. I feel like they're just not trying to catch him. And yeah, I would not be surprised if Conor was on roids. But yeah, I had a sore shoulder, so I just injected some HGH, and I was like, what the fuck? And then the next minute, I fucking popped for steroids, and then everyone's saying, he's a drug cheat, what the fuck? It was an accident. I did not know what was in that needle. I thought it was painkillers, but it's all good. Next fighter we have is Islam Makhachev. Brother, what do you mean I'm on steroids, brother? I only fuck sheep. No, never steroids, brother. Islam Makhachev, this guy's on roids. I think, I've seen this guy's fucking back. It's nuts. And yeah, he did pop earlier in his career, so that does not make this an outlandish claim. It's pretty reasonable to assume he's on steroids. A lot of their camp has popped. So yeah, Islam, brother, what do you mean I'm on steroids, brother? What do you mean I have to drug test? I thought I was gonna have good time with my wife. Like, that's what happens when the fucking USADA agents come around. But yeah, Islam's on roids, I think. Let's move on. Next fighter that we have here is Paulo Costa, Mr. Secret Juice himself. I think, look, his physique is nuts, which is the only reason he's here. Because skill-wise, his cardio's shit. He doesn't really have any power, but his physique looks fucking retarded. Like his physique looks like he's on roids, but nothing else about him. Like his fighting, he can't push a pace very well. He doesn't have really one-shot power. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he is on roids, maybe some HGH, but Costa, I think it is possible for him to be natural, but it's just a very impressive physique. Pause. Let's move on though. The last fighter that we have here in the reverse roids category is Shamil the Blob Gaziev. Now, this guy's not injecting roids. He's just injecting oil and butter and salt. He's just injecting pure sodium. Pure oil. Like, this guy is on no roids. He's just eating Big Macs every day. The USADA comes around. They probably just see Gaziev sitting around on his couch eating Big Macs, and he's like, they were going to test him. They're like, he's fine, he's clean, let's go away. His cardio's atrocious. He's got no power. He's really got not much finishing ability. He's just not good, and he's just obese. So I put him in here for the meme. But yeah, definitely reverse roids for Shamil Gaziev. But that is the video done, guys. This is part 1 of the series. We're going to have part 2 coming shortly. I've got another 20 fighters. I just didn't want to make this video too long. You're going to, why would I not split it up? I can get twice the views. That's, of course, what we're doing here. But yeah, keep an eye out for part 2. We got some more videos coming soon, more tier lists, all of that. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace out.